Our speaker for today is Mr. Asif Shami. He is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Statistics in FC College. He is also serving as the head of department since 2013. Mr. Shami has earned his master's degree with a distinction from Islamia University, Bahawalpur. Over to you, Mr. Shami. He has a lot of experience and he is a great resource person. I'm sure my introduction is not going to do any justice to him. So over to you, Mr. Shami.
Thank you, Mr.
I think there is some sound issue. We're just checking that.
Is it clear now?
As we are testing the microphone, I quickly want to thank all the non-FCC university participants as well, and even FCC participants. It's great to see all of you joining this session, especially I see people from University of UET, Air University, and then there's Lahore College, Rifa University. Can I request please all of you to rename yourself? It actually helps us in keeping a track of the attendance.
Okay, this is Asif Shami working at this. Some sort of things are problem. We are fixing it now. Please hold on.
Sir, can you turn on your mic and test now?
Yeah, I think I am now audible to everyone.
Yes, you're audible now. You can start the session.
Thank you. Well, let me introduce myself. I am Asif Shami, working as associate professor in statistics and head of department. I'm sure you can clearly hear me. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Sir, the sound is perfect.
Thank you. Can you allow me to share some screen? Miss Amit, Mr. Gohar, I'm unable to share my screen. Just hold on, I'm working on this. That why not my voice is very much clear. Yes, welcome to the CLT workshop introduction to SPSS. You have seen the very first slide, that is my introduction. And the next is what is the history of SPSS? SPSS is basically stands for the statistical package for social sciences and was first released in 1968, developed by the three students, Norman, Nee, and Hadal, at the University of Stanford. This is the McGraw-Hill who published the very first user manual in 1970. Interesting to know that it was originally known as SPSS statistics in 2008 from the beginning, but in 2009 it was changed its name with the Predictive Analytics Software as PASW. But right after 1 year in 2010, the IBM got it. And in 2010, from 2010, it is IBM SPSS statistics, and currently it's 27th version, which I am using, and in the market ranging from 100,000 $1,290 to $8,540 per annum. And no doubt it's a very huge cost to pay. If we want to buy in Pakistan, we have to pay a lot of amount. Why SPSS? The very first is that this is very comprehensive software. It deals almost all kind of data, and most of the analytics are available in the SPSS. Flexible statistical analysis, you can perform any sort of flexible analysis with the help of SPSS. It's very flexible. Data management system is very good in SPSS. You can handle almost all type of data, including the time series data and economic data and business management data. And data almost can deal with almost all type of file. For example, Excel, you can convert the data from Excel, you can convert the data from text file, even you can convert the data from Microsoft Access product in the shape of queries. But basically, one thing I should clear that this is for the mostly used for the quantitative data, not for the qualitative data. For qualitative analysis, there are so many other software available in the market. Then actually to generate tabulated reports, charts and plots of distribution and trends, descriptive statistics, and conduct complex statistical analysis like the very famous is the principal component analysis and EFL and PCA. Many complex statistical analysis can also be performed with the help of SPSS. And a very big thing that the support is that SPSS is available from several platforms. It is available in Microsoft Windows operating system, Apple Macintosh, and Unix system. Objective of the course is that about the Windows, what are the windows in the SPSS, what type of windows are we using in SPSS, the basic of managing data files, and the basic analysis in SPSS. Usually you will observe that some basic analysis, including some sort of means, you can perform the graph, how to make the graph of different type of data, and if time allows me, then I'll go to the regression estimation and so on. The very first is about the windows in SPSS. There are four types of windows in SPSS. The one is data editor, in which data is there. The other is output viewer, where you get the results. And the third one is script editor. This is for the some sort of advanced level, or if you know the programming and the script window, that will be next. Data editor. This is a spreadsheet-like system for defining, entering, editing, and displaying data, just like as the Microsoft Excel. But the difference in the SPSS and the Microsoft Excel, you will come across that over here, in the very first line of the Microsoft Excel, you have to write down the name of the variable. But in SPSS, the name of the variable is at the top, and the very one starts means the very first case or very first response available. In this window, you enter the data, you edit the data, or you can see what the variables are there and what are the values of these. The extension of the file shape will be SAB. There are two different file extensions, SAB and SPV. The output viewer, where you get the results, whatever you have performed, the analysis, or you have made the graph, whatsoever you have performed in the data window or in the output window, the output will be in the output viewer. It displays output and errors. If there are some errors and you cannot get the answer, extension of the file shape will be SPV. The next window is syntax editor. Syntax editor is the side of composition extension editor for syntax composition. In this window, usually this is very good for those who can write the commands in the syntax editor and then perform the data analysis and get the results. And its extension is SPS. and script window. This is the basic like language. Basic means beginner or purpose calling instruction codes like language. In this window, the possibility to write full-blown programs, text editor for sentence composition, the extension of the file will be SVS. This is the for the script window. I have gone through these type of windows. Now there are basics managing files, how to manage the file. There is another window in the file. You can see over in the data editor, there are two tabs over here. You will see when I will run the SPSS in original. There are two types of tabs, data view and variable view. You will come across the variable view sooner, but make sure the data editor has these two types of tabs available in the SPSS data editor. This is a separate window, and the output window is separate. It pops up separately as the and data editor windows pops up separately. Data editor and the output viewer are not in the same window or same window. How to manage the basic of the data file? Before, yes, the default window will have the two data editor. This is the data editor window completely, and there are two sheets in the window, data view and variable view. First of all, I will go with the data view. In the data view window, this should be visible when you first open the data editor. Definitely, when you click open the Microsoft IBM SPSS, this type of window first come in front of, which contains the data. And now I will go with variable view. Variable view window, this is very important. All the information about data are inserted in this window. This is contain information. Every possible information you can submit over here. You can enter the all possible information which is related to the file, which is related to the analysis, is entered over here. The very first thing, the very first column is the name. The name is very important. By default, the variable, the name of the variable starts with the VAR variable, and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will see it. The first character of the variable must be alphabetic. It is necessary to start the name with the alphabet. And variable name must be unique. You cannot copy the two, you cannot assign the same name to two different categories. Variable you can change by adding a single sign different, but variable name should be different. Number 3, spaces are not allowed. In the Microsoft Excel, we can write age of the respondent, means we can write age space of space respondent space, but in the SPSS these spaces are not allowed. However, you can use the underscore sign instead of the spaces, just like this. The next is type. Type, there are 8 different types. Variable type, that it is numeric, comma, dot, scientific notation, date, currency, or string. The type is very important. If you are observing the name, it is starting from VAR. This is by default of the SPSS, that starts from the alphabet, and it contains any numeric value. But if you want to insert a space between this VAR space 00003, it is not possible. But rather than inserting space, you can use underscore. The type is variable type. You can select any type according to the data you have collected. The width, which allows you to determine the number of characters SPSS will allow to be entered for the variable. Width is the number you can say that how much data values will be there. If it is numeric, then how many numbers will be there with the decimal points. If you can increase or decrease as per your requirement, decimal, and the number of decimal is less than or equal to 16 by default. And the next is label. Label is very important. Sometimes if you are not able to assign the name, proper name, you can write the description of the variable over here with the spaces, but it should not exceed 256 rated, including the blank spaces. This is very, and when you get the analysis, you will not see in the output window, you will not see the name of the variable, but the label of the variable, what you have assigned over here. For example, if I write the age over here in the VAR, replacing this, and the label will be, I can write the age of the respondent. So when I get the result in the output viewer, the age will not be there. It will be represented by the age of the respondent. Values. This is used to suggest which number represent which. This is basically for the categorical data or nominal data or the ordinal data, not for the scale variable. It means that if there are the two types of data, for example, gender, male and female, then you can assign the values 0 for male and 1 for female or vice versa. So the values will be assigned in this column. Look at the example. Click the cell in the value column as shown below. For the value of the label, you can put up to 60 characters. After defining the values, click add and then click OK. If this is the value, you can add you can write the value 2 for the female. You have to click add. The value will come over here. 2 is equal to female, and then you have to click OK. Measurement. The next was the measurement. Level of measurement. There are three basic measurement level in the expressive, nominal, ordinal, and scale. It is important to indicate the level of measurement. Since expressive does not differentiate between interval and ratio, it just considers it as a continuous variable, and it cannot differentiate between the interval measurement level or the ratio measurement level. Both are quantitative, so it's called as together we can it is nominated as scale. But nominal and ordinal level of measurements are available and differentiated. This is some level of measurements and with some example of the nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio in level of measurements. So I think I should skip this. The basic analysis of SPSS. First of all, I will go with the frequencies, then graphical descriptive measurements, and then graphical representation of data. So just allow me to start the SPSS. Just hold on, please.
Sir, can you please unmute your mic?
Just hold on, I'm working on the multiple sharing of the screens because there are two basic windows on which I have to work. That is data editor and the output viewer. I'm fixing the options that how to share the multiple windows at the same time. Please hold on. Please bear it with me. Thank you for waiting for some moments. The issue has been resolved now. Well, you can observe that there are two different data view. There are two different tabs. One is data view and other is variable view. The very first which comes in front of you, if you have the very first file, you have not entered the data. First of all, you have to introduce the variable. There are 11 variables available in this file, and this file I am sure that has been shared with you in the 2019 for previous material provided to you. The very first is ID, the second one is the gender, race, SES, socioeconomic, and let me introduce clear a big label. And this is the school type of school. You are observing that the school type is separated with the underscore. This is allowed, but if you write it like this, school type, it will be variable the error message will pop up. Variable name contains an illegal character. It means the space is treated as an illegal character. So you have to write it as the underscore. And there are the program, reading score, writing score, math score, science score, social studies score. These are the file type, these are the variables in the file with some types is there. Gender is not numeric. In fact, it is numeric. Why I have written is numeric? Because over here I have mentioned the value label 0 as the male and 1 for female. If you want to change it, you can change it. First remove and then 1 for male, add this, and 2 for female. Add this and then click OK. Now you can observe that the file, the values has been changed. 1 for male and 2 for female. Previously it was 0 for male and 1 for female. And similarly, this is the since it is the gender, so in over here we can put it can assign it as ordinal or the nominal, but I have it allocated as the ordinal. The second is the race. The next variable is the race, the ethnic background. 1 is the Hispanic, 2 Asian, 3 African American, and 4 is the white. And what about this measurement? This is again the ordinal. SES socioeconomic status, low, middle, and high. I have assigned the values. School type, that is public and private. And type of program, general and general, academic, and vocation. And the rest, these are the variables, these are the scale variables, means these are the continuous variable or the ratio variable, but the SPSS cannot differentiate between the ratio and the type of variable. It is only the scale variable. Now we move on to the data view. Data is already there. You are observing that gender is 0 and 1 because it is by default it was there. Let me change it again because all the things are with the original variables. 0 for male and 1 for female. Okay, this is the very first. If there are some problem in the data with this type of variables, if any value other than the allotted values are there, it will be highlighted. For example, if I will change it, socioeconomic activity is status as 4, what will happen? How I will come that this is the wrong entry? Just press this button. Pressing this value labels, you will see that SES has been changed to the keys allotted, but there is a one value which is still in the numeric form. So you can trace easily among the data that which one is not correct. So it was originally the value 2, that is middle. I can convert it back to the numerics, that this is the numeric, but usually I take this with me. These are the scale variables. So these are the numbers. I can remove their decimal points if I want to. Sorry, you can remove this, or you can increase even. And what will be the effect? This will be. And this is the alignment. I align scores in the center. So it will be aligned in center. Okay, the very first analysis which I'm going to introduce is the frequencies. Frequencies is usually calculated for the categorical variable. For example, gender, race, SES, school type, program, and descriptives are available for scale variable. Let me start with the descriptive. First of all, if you have installed the SPSS on your laptop on the machines, then click with me, descriptives, analyze, will pop up a window, then drag down menu, descriptive will pop up another window, and then we'll select the frequencies. Over here, if I want to get the information, how many males and females are there, I can use the variable gender. I can also use the socioeconomic background, SES, and over here we can have different options. First is statistics. We can get whatever we want, but for the time being, I'm skipping this. I'm moving to the charts, bar charts, pie charts. I'm going for the bar chart with the frequencies, chart values. These are important to administer that are you are interested in the frequencies or the number of percentages of the cases. I'm going with the frequencies. Continue and display frequency table. Make sure this is checked. If it is not checked, you will not get the proper information how many values are coming under the gender and socioeconomic status. I'm clicking the OK, and you will observe the C another window. Over here you are observing that running. I'm sure you are observing the frequencies. The very first table shows the number of observation. If there is missing, it will let you know there are 200 cases of our gender and 200 cases for the social SES, socioeconomic activity status. The frequency tables are there. There are 91 males and there are 109 females participated in this type of survey. The percentage is there, the valid percentage is there, the cumulative percentage is there. Now, socioeconomic status frequencies, low, middle, and high. 47 belongs to the low SES, 95 belongs to the middle, and the 58 belongs to the higher level, high SES. We can get, as we have clicked the bar chart, so we can observe that bar chart is there. Let me play with the charts a bit more, but not with this one, but with this one. If I double click this, what happens? Another window pops. This is called chart editor. Okay. In this chart editor, you are observing that data labels are there, values mode is there. I go for this, and just one you will observe one thing, that is count is there. As we have seen, if I need the percentage also, I can insert this and you will see, observe this, that the Windows chart has been changed with a simple chart to clearly mentioning the values of the SCS, that is 47, 95, and 58. 47, 95, and 58 with the valid percentages. 47 for 23.5. It is over here, 23.5, 47.5, and 29. These observations are over in this a simple chart. These observations are there. So what I have observed personally, what I have not tried this technique in Microsoft Excel. I don't know whether it is available or there, but in the SPSS this is available. You can change the color in the chart editor. If you want to change the, so this can be, if you want to change it up, this can be down, apply, just look over here. And the high is first, middle is there, and the low is there. And similarly, the chart will be same. Okay. The next is descriptive. Now I'm going to calculate the values for the scale variables. This is the thing, analyze descriptive statistics and then descriptive. Okay, you can see that there are some variables with the scale measurement, level of measurement, and these are the variables. And this options are there. Obviously, what do you require? You require the mean, you require the standard deviation, minimum, maximum. If you want to require range, if you want the skewness, display order variable list or alphabetic. If you want to get them alphabetically, I'm going with the alphabetic display order, and then click continue and just press the continue button. You will observe some output windows is there. Okay. Descriptive statistics is there. Match score, number of observations are 200, range is 42, minimum is 33 with the maximum match score is 75, mean statistics is 52.64, standard deviation statistics 9.38, and skewness, there is positive skewness. In the social studies score and writing score, there is a negative skewness, always also science score. One thing you will observe that over here math score is there, right? But in the output, in this variable view, only math was written as a name. I told you earlier, when you write the description on the label menu, this name will appear, not the name of the variable will appear. And similarly like this. You can pivot the table. If you want to do that, just double click it, pivot, pivoting tray. I want to use statistics over here. Set type is there and variable over here. So what will happen? This will be converted into this one. Math score, total number of observations same, but changing the outlook of the table. And usually it, what I suggest that this is good and very good of the outlook of the table. One more important thing about the descriptive. For the descriptive statistics, you cannot calculate the bar charts or the, but for the descriptive statistics, we usually go with another type of graph, which is coming after the some basic descriptives. The next is explore command. Explore command is a very good command, but it will display all the information about the variable in which you are interested. Usually, as a data analyst, I start with the explore command and let me tell you what it does. It factorizes the data list and statistics are there, plots are there, both. You can see many more things in this explore command. But for this type, for the sake of the time, I'm not going to work on the explore command. This is very, it needs more time to explain this. The next is if you want to go for the cross tab is basically used for the ordinal data or the nominal data. For example, I use the rows in the gender and one more variable. I should select what would be okay type of program. Just I want to get a table that how many students, how many male and female have adopted different types of program. I just click over OK and you will see this one. This is a two variable or bivariate data table in which gender is on the left side or the type of program is on the column side. Gender, there are 21 males who adopted the type of program general, 47 adopted the academic, and 23 as the vocational. And similarly, 24 females adopted the general type of program, 58 adopted the academic, and 27 adopted the vocational program. This is the problem with you can observe that these are there. So bear it with me. It is also creating problem for me to hide this bar. I'm sharing the whole screen with you. So this is the problem. The one thing I want to explain is that if I should explain it in earlier, if this line is not appearing at this point, sometimes LBM SPSS processor is not available over here. It means you cannot perform any sort of analysis. You cannot do any kind of analysis if it is not written that IBM SPSS server processor is ready. If it is not ready, you cannot do anything. Okay. The next is Rob, can you help me to fixing this controls, meeting controls? Okay. The next is some basic moving ahead. Oh, or let me show something to you. The descriptive measure is there, frequencies are there. Now the graphical representation also legacy dialogues and the bar. Simple. I'm just starting with the bar chart. There are three different types of bar chart available. Number one is simple, number two is clustered, and number three is stacked. And their description is the type of bar chart is are they over there. Summaries for group of cases, data in the chart are. This is important to discuss. Summaries for group of cases. Number two, summaries for separate variable, and number three, values for individual cases. This is important. There is another PowerPoint slide which I have prepared. graph in the spaces. This is very good. I must told that graph can explain a 1,000 words story in a one picture. And it is now, it is really, it is fun to read between the lines. If you want to explain a 1,000 word story in one picture, graph is very good. There are types of bar chart, and I'm skipping this. Summaries for group of cases. Categories for a single variable are summarized. Bar height. How? Just look at this cluster bar chart. How we obtain this? That there are the three different variables: science score, social studies score, and SES. SES means socio-economic status. How to obtain this type of graph? For this, uh, and summaries for separate variable. Let me tell you. Summaries for separate variable. Indicate bar represents science score and social studies score. Okay, means of them. If you want to change the statistics, we can change the statistics, number of cases. I, I select the number of cases, not the mean of the value, the standard deviation. You can select any statistic from there. And then category axis, that is socioeconomic active status, SES, and then click OK. This is the same graph, but science score with social studies. Over here, the mean is used, but I have no problem. I can go with the different. Selecting both the variables, change statistics, mean of the values, continue and click OK. You will get the field like this one. Okay, this is the thing we can do with the. Now clicking on this, we can number of observations, mean that we have used the mean, that is the count mean, and then you can you get the values over here and just close it. This will be in front of you. You can do any sort of operation on the charts. Clicking on the chart, there is another guide. You can change the colors. If you want to change the colors, you can change it. Fill and border, different options are available. Number two, this was the summaries for the separate variables. Now another summary for the group of cases. And define cluster as a source. This is the thing. Or you can interchange it. If you do not want to do this, just click on the graph, or there is another shortcut command available in SPSS that is called the recall recently used dialog. This button, you can remove gender and socioeconomic that, but putting over here and gender over here, you can perform the analysis like this one. In this graph, the male and female on the x-axis, but in this graph, the socioeconomic status is on the x-axis. Here is the count of the male and female is there. This is the difference between these two type of graph. Pie diagram. Pie diagram is an alternative to the bar chart for the nominal and ordinal data. The proportion of the pie represents the categories percentage in the population or sample. If you can identify the slices, or if you do not want to go with the slices, that's okay. But we should identify the slices. Pie. It is written over the pie. Summaries for group of cases. Define. I am going with the number of cases. Look at this. Summaries for group of cases. And select summary for group of cases. Select define, select a variable or move into the defined slices by box. The variable may be numeric, string, or long string. Program. If you double click this pie diagram, there is the point. You can write it. This has been sliced and insert the data labels. You can insert the data labels. There are 45 in general, 105 in academic, and 50 in the vocation. And this can be shown where I have socioeconomic 47, 95, and yes. Okay, let me check it out. That is this correct one. So I have type of program. I go with the frequencies and type of program. Display that this. So you can see that in general are 45. There are 45 in general, 105 in academic, 105 in academic as per the key scale, and the 50 are in the location, and in the table 50 are in the location. You can also go with the percentage. Now, so this is the thing in front of you, that the valid percentage of the number of observations are also there in the box. You can see this. The graph is very important. The next is the box plot. Box plot consists of boxes and two tails. This is taken from the name as a box and Wilson plot. The horizontal line inside the box tells the position of the median and its upper and lower boundaries. and is upper and lower quartile. Details runs to the most extreme values, minimum and maximum. Box plot is in some shows structure of the data along with its skewness and spread. For this, I have an example for you. Question: we have recorded the height in centimeter of boys in a class as shown below. We will draw a box plot for this data. The minimum value is 137 and the maximum value is 186. First of all, we calculate the median for this. Two quartiles for this. The lower quartile is 158, median the Q2 is 171, and the upper quartile is 180. Now, how to draw the median box plot? This is the thing, we have scaled it out, and you are observing that this is the box appearing 171 over here. This is the range of the median, lower and upper range for the median. You will observe that this is the value of the minimum value. This point describes the minimum value, or in this side there will be the maximum value, that is 186, and this is called the box plot for the value. This line in the box is called the median or the second quartile. This line shows the Q1, the very first line box, and this line shows the Q3, or the upper quartile. Same is the thing we have applied in this example that we have generated with the for the data of the socio-economic activity status and the reading score, that what is the box plot for the SEH and the reading score. So what we have to do, I have to shuffle so many times that is connected. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Click the define and look at this. Select the variable for which you want to box plot and move it to the variable box. Right? Score. You have developed for the reading score. Then the category axis is SES. Now click on this. You will get the box plot like this. Just shown like this. Low, middle, and high. playing with the graph is a fun. You have to, you can get so many different type of graphs, and you can explain everything to your audience with the help of the good suitable graph. And this is the if Apple should give me the time histogram is the graphical representation of the frequency distribution. The height of the curve is proportional to the frequency of that class with the height of that bar. In fact, the height of the bar is proportional to the frequency of that class, and it is for the continuous data. Histogram is available for the different type of value. Sorry for the interruption because of the weather outside. My window is very good, and that's why there is a problem in the internet with me. So thank you for bearing with waiting for me, and let me continue where I stopped. That was this one. I was talking about the histogram for the variable of math score. We have discussed over earlier that there is, let me share the screen. Let me share the screen. We were this sharing. Okay. We were working on this. Yes. But you are observing that this histogram is not with the normal curve. Just click display normal curve and you will get the normal curve over this data, like this one. This one. There are two different peaks and you are observing the normal curve is there with the same data which I have used earlier. That is the max score. So you can use different types of variable for you can make a histogram for different type of variables. So continuing with the graph. Histogram and skewness. There we have discussed earlier, and there are the skewness, some variables, and some are positively skewed and some are negatively skewed. The more this is the definition of some sort of information about the model classes. A model class is the one with the largest number of observations. If there are two different observations which are in the greater form number, the model class can be two bimodal histogram, that is called bimodal histogram with the two different modes in the data. And if there is a unique mod model class, then this is called the bell-shaped histogram. As you are observing, many statistical technique requires normal distribution. Histogram help verify the shape of the population. Histogram is very good for the quantitative scale variable. Scatter plot is usually for the regression, and if time if I have the time, yes, I have some time that there is the you can perform the regression analysis and then next slides. That is called the regression analysis, simple regression analysis. What is regression? Basically, this is the dependence of one variable on one or more than one variable. It means one dependent variable can depend on one or more than one independent variable. Here we are getting the results in the file. We have the results. We are going to apply the regression analysis. Then first of all, click analyze regression and then click linear, because we are going to deal with the linear regression, and the same can be obtained by curve estimation, but I'm starting with the linear regression model. So this is my data set, starting analyze, and this is regression, and this is linear. For the sake of this, I'm using the math score and the science score, two different variables. That the suppose the math score depends on the science score. Obviously, it is not. But you can say that the science score may be dependent on the writing score. But for the sake of analysis, I'm using the two different variables, math score and the science score, and taking the math score as a dependent variable and the science score as a independent variable. If someone is good in science, he will get the good marks in math, or you can change it. The science as a dependent or maths as the independent. You can now click on the statistics tab. You can get the estimates, you can get the confidence interval, model fit, R square change, descriptive. We have done it, but let me check it again and then click OK. The plot, histogram, normal probability plot, and then click continue. Options are there and click OK. Selection variable, case level, and WH weight. These are the advanced level of regression analysis. Stepwise remove backward forward. That is again some advanced level of analysis for the regression. For the sake of this, I'm using only the dependent simple linear regression, that is using the two variables, the science score and the math score. And we are observing that these are the scores we have obtained. The very first table is the descriptive. Science score mean is this, and the main math score mean is 52.65 with the standard deviation of 9.36, which is smaller as compared to the science score. In this, we are observing that the correlation coefficient, that is 0.63. It is moderately good, but not so much good. As discussed by the Dr. Sharun Hanouk, that the value of correlation is high, can explain many things to you, the data. Then next is math score. Dependent variable is science score with the math score as an independent variable. Model summary, that the R is this 0.63, R square is 0.398, which is very low, but this model is very significant. This is the ANOVA regression analysis. The regression coefficients are there. Regression is 7 with the highly significant observation. P-value is very good. This model is in fact a significant model. And the coefficients are there. Constant, that is called alpha. We call it alpha, 16.758. The max to beta is the 6.667. Dependent variable is science score. If we write this, that 16.758 plus 0.667 math score. Actually, and this is the histogram, dependent variable versus independent variable, and this is the first. Oh yes, I have forgotten how to. Okay, let me draw the scatter plot for these two types of variable. Simple scatter plot. Define y-axis is the science score and maths on the x-axis. Click OK. You will get the, this is the observation. And let me I got the information that screens are not shared. Let me start from the regression analysis. that I started with the regression like this, regression and the linear, and introduced the math score and the science score as science score as a dependent and math score as independent. And we get the observation like this. We got this table, descriptive statistics, their correlation between the math score and the science score, that is 0.631, that is already good, not too much good, it's just good. And we observe that this model is significant, that this model is a valid model and good model. And we'll get with the ANOVA table, which also shows that the model is significant with the dependent variable science score and predictor as the math score. And we get the coefficients of the regression model, that the constant is 16.758 plus the math score 0.667 math score, that 1 unit 1 marks in math score, 1 unit in the math score is increased by 0.667 in the science score. These are the regression standardized value, and this is the regression plot, scatter diagram. Let me scatter diagram this one. This so this concludes my presentation for the regression, basic regression analysis. So if you want to have any question, you are most welcome.
Sir, do we have more demonstrations and slides?
Yeah, I can share the slides with you, and definitely the things which I have performed is you can do the same with the help of the slides. But expertise are the, you can get the expertise in this software just because of your time and your requirement.
All right, sir, thank you. If you have any questions, addressing the audience right now. If you have any questions or queries, or if you didn't understand any particular part, please type it in the chat box. So Dr. Naila from University of Lahore is asking if we can get these softwares as well. Can you please share, sir, if these softwares are free of cost, or do
In
we
fact,
have
this is,
to pay?
sir, thank you, Manish. In fact, this software is not free of cost, but we can get its cracked version from you are from the University of Lahore, you are Dr. Naila, so you can get the cracked version from your university. I don't know, the CLT can upload the file in the Google Drive or not. It's depend upon the CLT, that whether the CLT upload the
So we
file.
can check, because for the premium softwares, we don't really offer the cracked version. We pay for the
That is the, yeah,
services.
that is
Yes.
the issue with the formation FCC.
Yes.
We use the premium software, license software. This is the issue with the FCC. I don't know.
While we're taking more questions, I am going to launch the Zoom polling. So please respond to that. This really helps us in improving and having a genuine feedback from your end.
Dr. Naila, yes, it is, the trial version is there, but the problem with the trial version is that if you go with the trial version, it will be installed only once, because stores your IP address and the MAC address of your book, your laptop. Once you have installed the tried version, then again it will not allow you to use that.
And I would also like to mention that many universities, they do have the service of these softwares. They have purchased the subscription of these softwares. So
Yeah,
you can
definitely.
check with the relevant department, maybe research department or stats departments, because these departments, they use these softwares on a regular basis. Do we have any more questions? Also, if you were having any issue with the with your statistical tool using, you can also ask that from Dr. Asif, Mr. Asif.
Oh, Mr. Rasid.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you writing my email ID?
I can mention his email address as well for any queries. So I see a few people have said that they have been dissatisfied with the session. If it's possible for you to address that your problems, we will be happy to make amendments in our future sessions to avoid this inconvenience. Do we have more questions? I think that is it. I'm going to keep the poll open for another 1 minute, so you can respond to that. Okay, Dr. Nala is asking about the certificate. Miss, we do issue this certificate, but for the entire course, we do not issue certificate for a single session. And there are a few terms and conditions. If you send me an email address, if you send me your email, I can reply you back. I'm going to end the poll now. I want to thank Mr. Asif Shami. Sorry for that. I want to thank Mr. Asif Shami for taking his time out, and despite having different troubles with the weather issue or with the equipment issue, he still managed to deliver the demonstration and complete the agenda of the session. I hope there was some learning point in it for you, and we will be sharing the recording of the session with the edits, so that will also help you out. I also want to thank non-FCCU and FCCU participants for taking time out for this session. I'm going to close this session. Thank you, everyone. Khudafis.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.